everyone. I'm going to call the Board of Supervisors to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Good morning, Supervisor Giomi.
Here.
Supervisor White. Here. Supervisor Horton. Supervisor Schutte.
Here.
Mayor Bagwell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. We're now on to agenda item number 3, which is our invocation. I think I saw Nick. Oh, I did. Thank you. You'll join us.
Please stand with me and let's pray. God, thank you for today and thank you for the opportunities that are before us this day. Some of them we know, they're on an agenda, they're on our schedule, they're planned out, but there are other things, God, that will come across our paths today that weren't planned. And so I pray for wisdom and strength to handle both the planned and unplanned opportunities. I also pray, God, that you would give us wisdom and insight, that you would help us servant leaders of our community to understand what's best for Carson and the surrounding areas and make much of the opportunities they have, but also that they would do well by the people they represent and that you would use their talents and that you would use their skills to make those decisions and to help represent our community and to make the best decisions they can. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Sheriff Furlong, will you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, we honor. Thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we are on to our beginning public comment, where it's not on a specific topic on the agenda, but I have Serge Duarte signed up that would like. It does not matter. I call him off in order so no one thinks I'm playing favorites, but you can pass it to him, Sheriff Furlong.
I voted sticker contest. Okay. Just a real quick, thank you all for allowing us this opportunity. Stacy, Jomi, Supervisor, and I have history back on this. We're going to talk about National Telecommunicators Operators Week, the long version of dispatchers. Do you ever wonder who the person is behind the emergency call to 911? Rarely seen but always heard, 911 dispatchers are a vital link to the public safety response. For this reason, each year during the second week of April, we set aside time to recognize and celebrate the work of the 911 dispatchers, dedicating themselves to life-saving efforts for those in need. April 9th through the 15th, 2023 marks this year's National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Often the true first responders, 911 dispatchers are tasked with a wide range of responsibilities that they must be prepared for all different types of circumstances, including overlapping critical emergencies. They provide life-saving instructions during medical emergencies. They are the calm voice during a tragic situation, and they are the direct line of communications for the police, fire, EMS, and public works units that are on this, in the community. They've even been known to help out students with homework or deliver a baby before paramedics arrive, all with just their words to guide. The streamlined sequence of information sharing ensures our community is provided with public safety responses in the most efficient way possible. Our 911 Communication Center is also equipped with several smartphone 911 features that allow the dispatchers to assist in ascertaining the accurate location or two-way text communications with callers who may be unable to hear or safely talk to dispatchers. 911 dispatchers use these tools and several others as experts in navigating multiple communication data streams, systems, and tasks. It is said that 911 dispatchers have nerves of steel and hearts of gold. The job presents both stressors and challenges, changing as the clock ticks. And at the end of the shift, it is the positives that come to life. The knowledge that they have made a difference, the knowledge that they have made a positive impact with a caller during a moment of crisis, the satisfaction that comes from being calm voice in a time of peril, the adrenaline being right in the thick of the public safety response plan and carrying through the more challenging times of a dispatcher. The career of a 911 dispatcher is extremely rewarding as they are responsible for so many pieces that impact public safety and emergency services. Communications Manager Jennifer Stouffer, sitting to my right, Fire Chief
Going way back.
Sean Slayman, represented here with Assistant Chief Lowe, and I are all very proud of the dispatch team. Our dispatchers are some of the hardest working people we know. They take on so much and do it with continued kindness and empathy. They work so well as a team to ensure the highest efficiency and coordinated help to the citizens of Carson City. Quick thinkers, compassionate communicators, and passionate about helping, 911 dispatchers are the center core of our public safety information systems and the glue holding it all together. We wish to recognize them for their outstanding efforts during this week, next week, and all year long. Their contributions to public safety services are truly appreciated. Aaron?
From the fire department, for us, this is the, I don't have a prepared speech. I was just notified a couple minutes ago. For us, the dispatchers are the link between the community and the fire service and the paramedics that we have. And the community cannot have us respond without them. They are critical to the success of the safety of Carson City and its community members. So for us, we'd like to thank them and recognize them next week. For all their efforts, they are truly unrecognized, and I believe that the 1 week out of the year is truly not enough. They should be recognized every day and every time someone calls 911.
Wait. I think that if the whole audience would join me in recognizing all of our telecommunications staff. Did I get new words all the time? So I would just love a round of applause so that we can show our appreciation. Please let your entire staff know how much each and every one of us appreciate the job that they do. Everyone's right. There aren't enough thank yous to do that, but hopefully public acknowledgement is a help. So thank you so very much. By chance, before I have you come up, is Ann Potts here? Oh, Ann, come on up. Would you please go ahead and, this is such a celebration of issues this morning, so would you go ahead? Mm-hmm. Make it green, the button. There you go.
My name is Ann Pott. I'm a gerontologist in Carson City, and I'm part of the Parkinson's Support Center of Northern Nevada. We're a new organization, nonprofit, that started in COVID. What happened is the American Parkinson's Association had one information and referral center in Northern Nevada, and they pulled out during COVID permanently. So the Parkinson's Support Center of Northern Nevada was developed in that gap. So we have information and referral. We also have community outreach events, and we have community support for people living with Parkinson's and those who love them. In Carson City, within the next month, we're starting a community support group. So we're very excited about that. April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. So we are doing several events for that, including a proclamation in Reno at the Little Theater on April 19th from 1:30 to 3:30. So we'd love to have you join us, anyone in this community. I think that sometimes Carson City is overlooked, and we want you to be as involved as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this and starting this organization and just helping people. Thank you very much. Okay. Serge, I'm ready for you.
Good morning. My name is Serge Duarte, and I'm the program manager for Carson's Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT. We're a group of civilian volunteers who help prepare the community for any kind of critical events such as wildfires, earthquakes, or flooding. And we're also trained to respond and assist our first responders in the event of a critical incident or a large public event. Working in concert with our parent agency, Carson Fire Department, we've developed a program now where U.S. flags that are worn or tattered can be deposited in a permanent facility that we have at our Station 52, at Corrections Station 51, Fire Department Headquarters. That's open 24 hours a day, where community members can deposit their worn and tattered flags and have them disposed in the proper manner. The U.S. Flag Code indicates that flags should be disposed in a manner such as burning, to be able to process them correctly, not just thrown in the trash. And we've found out that there's one such box now in City Hall that's available. It's not necessarily available all the time. And so we thought that it was critical for all the people in our neighborhood and our communities to be able to know that they can go to this durable box that, as I said, is in front of Station 51, deposit the flags and know that they're going to be disposed of properly. By the way, we were able to get this box, obtain the box, get it painted at no cost whatsoever to the city through the support of our community members. So what will happen is that from time to time, as these flags accumulate, the fire department will take them out and they'll burn them during a fire exercise to be able to dispose of them properly. But once a year on June 14th, which U.S. Congress has designated as Flag Day, we'll have a formal presentation, a formal U.S. flag retirement at Station 52, the station that's by the airport, where we're going to invite elected officials, veterans, and other community members to attend this presentation to witness the formal retirement of our U.S. flag. So I just wanted to inform you of this. I think this is a great thing that the fire department is doing for our community. I thank you for your support to CERT, for your support to the fire department, and for your support to our community.
Thank you so much. I remember we did the box that's in City Hall is really Daughters of the American Revolution and the Children of the American Revolution who did that as a project because they saw that gap. So there's also a box at the library that collects all those, and then at the VFW Hall. But how wonderful. We did a whole flag burning event at Fuji Park, and remember we had to put Brad Bonkowski in a fireman's outfit so that we could legally burn this. So it's wonderful that the fire department and the CERT team is taking this on. We thank you for that because it's wonderful to have them properly disposed of, and we have a very loyal community when it comes to that. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, I don't have anyone else signed up for public comment, but I'll take one last shot just in case. Okay, then I'll move on. We're now on to agenda item 6, which is the approval of our minutes of March 2nd. Did anyone have any corrections or anything? Thank you.
I move to approve the Carson City Board of Supervisors meeting minutes of March 2, 2023 as presented.
I have a motion and a second for approval of the March 2, 2023 minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Okay. We're now on to special presentations, and if you'll join me on the floor, we'll do that. And then I think Megan is here. Okay. Yo, you stay right here. Stay right here.
I feel like
I gotta give it to somebody. Whereas Nevada's children are one of the most precious resources in our state and provide the hope for a brighter tomorrow in Nevada. Whereas protecting children is everyone's business and everyone can promote the support of safe, healthy families in our community through partnering to protect children. And whereas child abuse is a community issue and finding solutions depends on involvement and partnerships among people throughout the community. Whereas effective child abuse prevention succeeds because of partnerships created between the parents, practitioners, schools, faith communities, health care organizations, law enforcement agencies, community leaders, politicians, the business community. And whereas all citizens need to be more aware of child abuse and neglect and its prevention within the community, and be involved in supporting parents to raise their children in a safe, nurturing society. And whereas public awareness and prevention regarding child abuse and neglect remains the best defense for our children and families. Now, therefore, I, Lori Bagwell, Mayor of Carson City, Nevada, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2023 Child Abuse Prevention Month and encourage all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to partner in efforts to prevent child abuse, thereby strengthening the community in which we live. This is Megan Soraka with Child and Family Services. Did you want to say a few words?
I think the proclamation said it all. Child abuse and neglect is really not just a situation for the Child Welfare Agency, but rather the community. So thank you for making this proclamation. I appreciate it.
It's our honor. And this is a great community that I know helps. Is that the same? You see something, say something, right? It's not in this proclamation, but just keep that in mind, right? Thank you so much for bringing this to life. Okay, we're now on to our consent agenda. Again, I don't have anyone that's signed up for anything. Is there anybody? Oh, you do have another thing? Oh, sorry, 7B at the top of this. It's, but I'm not down below. It's up here. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Board. Scott Howen, Clerk Recorder and Registrar of Voters. For the record, I want to introduce you to Emily. I also have Nicole with us in the audience. They are two of our superstar full-time election workers for the city. And it is so important for us to be aware of the next upcoming elections in 2024. We've got 3 of them, and it starts in February with a presidential preference primary, which means early voting starts the end of January, which means our team is busy getting ready to train poll workers, about 120 poll workers, the first couple of weeks of December. So Emily came up with a great idea, and I wanted her to run with it. So Emily, the show's yours.
Thank you. Emily Toops for the record, Chief Deputy of Elections for Carson City. I want to thank you all for having me here, Madam Mayor and the Board of Supervisors. I've been with the city since 2000. Oops, I think I kicked something. The TVs went off. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. I've been with the city since 2018, and I've been in elections for the last 3 years. So I put a little packet together for you guys. It has the previous I voted stickers, and if you guys have any questions during this presentation, just holler and I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, so our current sticker that we have for the 2020 and the 2022 election cycle is on that PowerPoint. It was designed by Victor Clavel in 2019, who was a Carson High School graduate. We're doing this new sticker design. We're trying to get some community involvement. Like Scott said, there's going to be 3 elections in 2024. We've never had a presidential primary before. This is going to be the first for the state of Nevada. So we're just trying to get the word out. And he also touched on election workers. The election worker application is online or in our office. We're always accepting election workers. Like he said, we had about 120 during the last election, and we really couldn't do the election without the help of the community. So the contest is, we're putting on this contest. We're the Carson City Elections Department. The winning design will be used during the 2024 election cycle. We'll have the presidential primary in February, the June primary, and the November general election. The stickers will be given out to voters at the polling location during early voting and election day, as well as at all mail ballot drop box locations. Anyone who's a Carson City resident of any age is open to enter in this contest. And you can enter by, you have to agree to the contest rules and submit your design by completing an I voted sticker design contest entry form. The contest will open today, April 6th, and close at the end of the business day, May 5th. So we have about a month of the contest to get those entries in. Like I said, you can pick up a form at our office, online at carson.org/elections. There's a link there to the I voted sticker page. City Hall will also have forms and flyers, as well as the Carson City Library. This is what the submission form looks like, and I just wanted to take some time to thank everyone who's helped me during, put this on. James in the executive office helped with the flyer, as well as the submission form and the press release, as well as Renee Cortez at the Carson City School District. She's gonna push out a mass email to students and their parents. And Hilda Villafana at WNC, she's posting there as well for me. So the contest rules are it must be your original work. It cannot contain references to any candidates or political parties or advocate for or against any issue. It cannot violate or infringe upon copyrights, trademarks of privacy, publicity, or other rights of any other person or regulation. Cannot feature the likeness of a private individual without having that individual's written permission for its use. And it cannot trigger any reporting or loyalty obligation to any third party. How we're gonna select the winner, our office will narrow it down to 5 contestants, and then we'll come back here at your June 15th Board of Supervisors meeting, present you guys with 5 finalists, and from there you guys get to vote on the winning sticker for the 2024 election cycle. That person will, who wins will be contacted by our office. They're gonna get a thank you letter from our office, as well as a little goodie bag of Carson City stuff. Thank you guys all for your time, and our office is really looking forward to all of the wonderful designs that the community comes up with. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now.
Does anyone have any questions, comments? No, just how exciting. This seems like a lot of fun.
We're really looking forward to it.
Wait till you see how hard it is
Just
to
like-
narrow it down to the 5, because we have some really good artists in this community.
Yeah.
So good luck with the first challenge, but thank you for taking it on. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. It's going to be a good project.
Thanks.
Okay, we're now on to the consent agenda. Is anybody ready to make a motion on consent?
Certainly.
Supervisor Giomi?
Move to approve the consent agenda consisting of item 8A, 8B, 9A, 10A, 11A, 11B, 11C, 11D, and 11E as presented.
Second.
And in the second for approval of the consent agenda, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Let the record reflect the motion was unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we'll wait just 1 second. Let's see people. Okay. We're now then on to agenda item number 13, which is discussion and possible action regarding a proposed amendment number 6 to the NDF grant to extend the grant term through May 31st, 2023, and amendment number 7 to the grant to approve Carson City's request to increase hourly rates for personnel rates charged against the grant. Who's gonna, Adam, or you're gonna take it on? Mr. Long?
Aaron Lowe, Deputy Fire Chief. Good morning, Mayor, Board.
Morning. Go ahead.
So we're proposing that we accept Amendment 6 and then Amendment 7 to, 6 will extend the grant expiration date to 5/31/23, and Grant Amendment 7 is just the assurance that the increased charge rates will be reimbursed through the grant, to keep it simple.
Mr. Tully, do we have any updates or
Yes.
corrections for the document?
Yes, so Adam Tully, Deputy District Attorney. Just one quick note on Amendment 7. Page 2 of Amendment 7 has a typo on the date.
Page 386, I think.
Yeah, I believe it says that the grant expires 6/30/21. I've discussed with NDF. They agree that it should be corrected. So just with the motion, if you're inclined to approve, I'd say something like, approve, but work with NDF on correcting that date typo.
Okay.
What is the date supposed to be?
It should be 5/31/23.
Just a little off.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Does any member have any other questions? No? Does any member of the public have any questions on this agenda item or comment? Okay, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve amendment number 6 with the correction to the date of 6/30/21 to 5/31/23, and to approve amendment 7 to the NDF grant.
With the date.
With the date, I thought the
corrections.
date change was on 6.
So
Well,
it does appear on both.
Okay,
Amendment 7 will be the most recent one, and NDF already signed Amendment 6, and so it'll just be more streamlined if we only correct it on Amendment 7, but we can correct it on both as well.
let me withdraw my original motion.
Sure.
I will move to approve the amendments number 6 and number 7 to the NDF grant with the changes to the date as read into the record.
I second.
any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we're now on agenda 14A, discussion and possible action regarding a hearing, city manager on the fiscal impact and recommended approval of a collective bargaining agreement between Carson City and Carson City Firefighters Association number 2251 of the International Association of Fire. Boy, that's a lot of firefighting going on here. On behalf of grant and contract-funded wildland fire employees, effective beginning the first full pay period following the collective bargaining agreement execution through June 30th, 2026, with an estimated fiscal impact of $1,567,18.45 over the CBA's term that will fully offset by third-party grants and contracts funding this position, which for the public was the item we just approved that provided the money to do this. Ms. Paulson, you have to.
Good morning. Just briefly on this proposed agreement, it does include some pay and benefit increases for the wildland group, but these, everything in the agreement will be offset by grants from NDF and contract with NV Energy. In addition, the proposed CBA has terms that are unique to the wildland group and intended to eliminate any general fund liability. Under the management rights section, it expressly says that the city's general funds shall not be used for association member salary benefits or other costs associated with association members and their duties. And I just like to thank everyone that was on the negotiation teams and for all their hard work during negotiations, and 1 down and 4 more to go.
Was that happy?
As far as
I'm not
collective
sure.
bargaining agreements.
Okay, does any member have a question? Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, I'll just say for the benefit of, I can see some firefighters here. I just want to thank you for all your good work and how valuable it is for our community, because wildland fires is an important section to deal with. And so thank you for your hard work. It's another group we probably don't get to say thank you to very often. So I just want to put that on the record. Who wants to make the motion? I've got 2 purples.
I will. It's funny
Okay.
that, how did we
Bless
both
you.
do that?
I don't know. I think you hit it at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you mind? Thank you, ma'am. I move to approve the agreement and authorize the district attorney's office to make any necessary revisions that are clerical and not substantive when finalizing this agreement. I should have let you do it.
Yeah. I'm assuming the second is Supervisor Schutte.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. And again, thank you all for your good work. It's very much appreciated. You help keep our community safe. Thank you. Okay, we're now going to move to agenda item 15A, discussion and possible action to adopt on second reading Bill number 106, a proposed ordinance repealing provisions governing certain common open space development in Carson City. This deals with Chapter 1710. I'm guessing Heather is doing this instead of Hope since she's sitting there. Are there any changes?
So the only change is at the introduction of the ordinance on March 16th, the board did direct that a transitory provision be added to section 6, section 4. And that essentially says that the disposition of any application for common open space development that was filed before March 3rd of this year would be controlled by 1710 as it exists today.
Perfect. Okay, anybody, any other Supervisor Gianni?
Just one quick question. How many applications do we have? Just the one?
We have just the one that has been in since, I believe, August of last year.
Thank you.
All right, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, Supervisor White, a motion, please.
Thank you. I move to adopt on second reading Bill number 106, ordinance number 2023-5.
For a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of Bill number 106, ordinance 2023-5. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Okay, we're now going on to agenda item 15B, discussion and possible action regarding a request from Carson City to adopt on second reading Bill number 104, an ordinance amending the zoning map to change the zoning from limited industrial and single-family 1 acre to single-family 6,000 for assessable parcel number 010061-87 from single-family 1 acre to single-family 6 for the southern approximately 4.5 acres of APN 010061-84 addressed at 1601 Fairview Drive, and from LI to SF6 for the northern approximately 9.7 acres of APN 010061-76 addressed at 1700 Colorado Street. Ms. Ferris, are there any changes from the first reading?
There are no changes.
Are there any questions? Is there any public comment? I'll take a motion.
I move to adopt on second reading Bill number 104, ordinance number 2023-4.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no.
No.
Let the record reflect there were 4 yeses and 1 no by Supervisor White. Okay, we are now going to agenda item 6. Boy, flip these all fast enough. 16A. This is for Public Works. Discussion and possible action to adopt on second reading Bill number 107, a proposed ordinance approving a development agreement between Carson City and Palaseek LLP, Oikos Development Corporation, and Sierra Flats Family 1 LP concerning the conveyance of approximately 3.41 acres of city-owned land and the development of the second phase of an affordable housing project on that land located at Assessor's Parcel Number APN 010-037-06, and this is our Phase 2 of this project. Mr. Stuckey, are there any changes from the first reading?
No changes, Mayor.
Does anyone have any questions? This is going to be an easy day. How about just give us a quickie on Phase 1? I can see work going. Are we on schedule, construction?
No, we're not on schedule.
Yeah, a little bit of bad weather?
Yeah, this is
Just a little?
This is Michael Snodgrass. I'm with the Oikos Development Corporation. So no, the weather has not cooperated very much this winter at all. It's still a little wet. You'll see they're disking it now, trying to get the soils to be dried out, but we're about 90 days behind where we hope to be. If we would have hit about 1 more week, we could have had the pads in and been going vertical.
But then the snows started, the winter came, and it comes with the territory. But yeah, we're behind schedule. We're hoping we can catch up. The only good news is with phase 2, we're scheduled to close with the funders about May 15th, which means that infrastructure will roll right in from phase 1 to phase
Might
2.
work out.
And so, yeah, you'll see the construction, it'll be going vertical on phase 1 earlier, but then it'll roll right into phase 2. So from contracting standpoint, it'll probably work out okay, but from my standpoint, yeah, I'm disappointed we're not further along.
Makes scheduling of work
Scheduling, yeah,
very
because
difficult.
everybody that was scheduled before is now, we're having to reschedule because you missed your window when they were scheduled to go in, and everybody's behind, right?
Right.
Because, so we're not the only project, every project around is behind.
Well, we look forward to the success of this project, so
Thank you.
thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion. Supervisor Giomi?
I move to adopt on second reading Bill number 107, ordinance number 2023-6.
I second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of Bill number 107, ordinance number 2023-6. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
No.
Let the record reflect the vote was 4-1 against, being Supervisor White. Thank you all, and again, we look forward to a very successful project. We are now on agenda item 16B, discussion and possible action regarding a proposed resolution concerning an application under NRS 244.287 for the conveyance without consideration of approximately 3.41 acres of undeveloped land designated as assessor's parcel 010-037-06 for Phase 2, which is owned by Carson City 2 Oikos Development Corporation, a tax-exempt 501c3 organization for the development of the second phase of the affordable housing project. Mr. Stuckey, any changes to anything in the conveyances? Or?
No changes. We did, we're required per NRS 244-287 to do a bunch of noticing and certain requirements there. We've satisfied those. We haven't received any calls or letters or anything from any of the residents.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Nope. We've been through this one a few times, you can tell, huh? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion. Supervisor Schutte?
I move to adopt resolution number 2023-R-5.
Motion and a second for the adoption of resolution number 2023-R-5. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no.
No.
Let the record reflect the vote was 4-1, with the no being Supervisor White. Thank you so much. Appreciate all your hard work. They do get easier with future phases, right? The first one's always the hardest. Yeah. Okay. We're now on to agenda item 17A, which is discussion and possible action regarding, there should be a request for qualifications for the South Carson Street, South Stewart Street Roundabout Public Art Project. Miss Scott, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'll just give a really brief overview of the RFQ. So this is for an artist or artist team to design, fabricate, and install a freestanding outdoor original sculpture at the South Carson Street, South Stewart Street roundabout. This is a two-phase process. So phase 1, the request for qualifications will be posted on callforentry.org, which is a nationwide artist call for entry site. It's the most widely used one, and it's going to allow us to reach the highest quality artists who have the most experience with these types of large public art projects. So phase 1 is just establishing a pool of artists. We're looking at their resume, we're looking at images of past work, we get references. It's really an overview of the artists themselves and not a proposed project. Then the public art panel, which we will put together based on the public art policy, will review those and select up to 3 well-qualified artists or artist teams to move on to phase 2. And phase 2 is really the heart of the proposal. So they're going to be coming here for a site visit. They're going to meet with members of the public, so it's a really open, collaborative process. So members of the community can discuss what they would like to see in the roundabout, and the artists will get to know Carson City, our history, our culture, all of that. So they can take all of that information, go back, and then they'll have a couple months to put together a proposal of their project, which will again go before the public art panel. The public art panel, using the criteria listed in this RFQ, will then select their top artist and project. That will then be put in front of the Cultural Commission for approval, and then it will come to you all for final approval. The budget is $140,000 for the artist fee, and that's inclusive of all of the work. So everything that they're going to need to make this sculpture a reality, that's from design through installation. So that's everything. The total budget for this project, as you'll see in the staff report, is $150,000. And that includes $3,000 honorarium for the 3 finalists. That's $9,000 total. The call for entry website is $700, and then a miscellaneous $300, which may be used up in the call for entry website. If you get over 250 entries, it's a $2 an entry, something like that. So there is some miscellaneous expenses there that we're accounting for. That is a basic overview, and open to questions.
Any members have a question? Supervisor Schutte.
Thank you, and this is such an exciting project, and I appreciate your insight when I called. So my question, I think it's wonderful, and I am excited about getting started. Reading the timeline, to me, it seemed like quite a tight timeline when considering the project and that the artists, the 3 finalists, would be designing, planning, budgeting, preparing for installation, all of that. Can you share your thoughts on that, and if you feel that this is enough time, especially for phase 2? And I just think this is such an exciting project, and when it's in, it's in. And so I would love to, if needed, err on the side of really allowing these artists the opportunity to do the research and to really think through the process.
Right, Sierra Scott for the record. I agree. Because this project has been in the works for so long, I was erring on the side of the shorter end of the spectrum for all the phases. You know, for example, phase 1, I usually see windows between 4 and 8 weeks for a usual RFQ, and I, put it to 4 weeks just so we could get this timeline and get this project going. However, I do think because it's our first time through, and because there's so many different city departments involved and all of that, that it might behoove us to err on the longer end of all the timelines. So I created an extended timeline as an alternate that thank you, Dan, for passing that out. And this extends everything out. It still gets the installation done by the end of FY24, which honestly, with the weather, might have happened anyway. But it just pushes everything so that the phase 1 submission is open for 6 weeks instead of 4. There's a longer time for concept development, which for me, again, that's really the heart of the project, is the concept development, and we want to make sure the artists have plenty of time for that. And then we're going, further into the fall and winter for the approvals, as you can see. And then they're still going to have fabrication delivery and install January through June 2024. So this gives us a little more time to breathe. And again, this would still be a tentative timeline in the RFQ. Because there are things that are going to happen with materials and all sorts of unexpected issues that may push us. So we just want to be prepared for all of that.
Supervisor Giomi.
Who is the public art panel?
So it has not been selected yet, as this hasn't been approved yet. But per the public art policy, it's recommended that the panel consists of the CTA's Arts and Culture Program Manager, an artist or art professional, community members or facility users, and members of the Cultural Commission, as long as it's not a quorum. So we will be having all of those groups. I think for this one, it's really important to have some artists that specifically work in large metal sculpture so that we have some subject matter experts.
And how do you think you'll find people like that?
I'm
That won't want to do the project.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm wondering, yeah.
I already have some leads out to some folks at the Generator who do a lot of the Burning Man art, and down at the Buffalo Creek Art Center.
Great. So in addition to the timeline, and I appreciate your anticipation of that, and coming up with let's see how good you are with my next comment. No, I'm just kidding. So here's my concern. Everything related to construction has gone up. And I to Supervisor Schuette's point, this is a gateway project for Carson City. And I've said this from the beginning. It's been 4 or 5 years that we've talked about this. I do not want to shortchange this. I don't want, 60,000 of that 140,000 going to underground work that isn't going to be seen. So I feel like we do have unexpended funds in the redevelopment authority. I don't think it's enough. I would like to exclude the underground work and the installation work from the cost. We're going to build something that's going to last until my granddaughter has kids, and it's got to be right. I don't know what the right number is, but I'm very concerned that this is not it. We just heard the discussion that they had about the delays, and I do quite a bit of construction in my regular job, and costs are ridiculous, and they change, especially the price of metal is changing daily, not by a little bit, by 3, 4, 5 percentage points up. So I don't know what the number is, but I'm very concerned that we're going to end up with, a little statue like this and not something worthy of our community. So I'd just like to see what the board thinks about that.
Supervisor White?
I agree. I think the budget's a little light myself, but if that's what it is, we'll have to work within it. But I think we need to look for some sort of contingency, because I can see this, as Supervisor Giomi said, I can see this getting way past our current budget. When do you expect that this will be posted on the call for entry?
April 17th. I already have the contract for call for entry ready to go, so as soon as this is approved, we can move with that.
April 17th? Okay. I really appreciate all the work that's gone into this, and in particular, the inclusion of CCMC 1.06. I think that that's very important, that we really work towards what has already been established as the visuals of what Carson City represents. I think that's a real good move forward, and has really secured my support of this project. Thank you for that.
Supervisor Schuette?
I am absolutely comfortable with the cost of installation being separate, and so to allow the 140,000 to go solely to the project, to the design, and then that way it gives the artist and the project a better idea of how to move forward and how to design without the concern of cost of implementation.
I'm not going to go that far. You can't have no constraint, because then the artist is going to do whatever they deem the best, which I understand you're trying to potentially get to, but I can't have an artist create something that's a $500,000 public work project to get the thing installed. That doesn't make any sense, but I am willing to figure out something in this call that we can allow them to submit projects that exceed the 140, but that, again, we may reject it based on the overall pricing.
Yeah.
So that we can get it, but I'd like them to try to constrain it to the dollars available. Does that make sense, what
That
I'm
makes
saying?
complete
Right?
sense. And that,
Right.
yes, I think that's a really good way to put it. So,
Right, so
so with,
the current
with
budget-
installation in mind, that there's some flexibility,
Correct.
but yes, thank you.
For another alternative,
Yes.
what if we capped installation, keep installation separate, but capped it at 50,000? So a total project of 190. So in other words, they could construct the artwork up to 140,000 or 130, I guess it is, right?
140.
140, okay. And then construction or installation, I should say, would be a maximum of 50,000 on top of that. And then between those two, they can design whatever they want, but it gives them a set amount of money for installation. And that, considering everything, seems like a reasonable number. Then we're not just doing an open checkbook.
Yeah, I don't want to do
And we're giving them a little more money to get the artwork. More money is going to the artwork versus the installation. I'd like the full 140 to go to the artwork. And then if they go to design something that ends up being so difficult to install that it goes beyond that, then they're going to have to scale it back. But to me, I like that better, because then we're saying 140 for the artwork, up to $50,000 for the installation.
Yeah, Sierra Scott for the record. I think my concern with that is being so strict in that, because so many, there could be certain pieces that are multiple sculptures within the roundabout. So that's going to have more installation because of the nature of that. So being restrictive with the funds might not get us where we want to go in the end, just because there are going to be so many different types of proposals. So it might be helpful to have the additional amount and recommend, that amount, but also be open to whatever their budgets propose, and just seeing what the artists bring in themselves.
So you think it's better to just increase the budget overall and keep everything else the way it is?
I do.
So then what's the right number?
For projects like this, honestly, I've seen some that are $40,000. I don't think they're going to get what they want. The majority of these are at least 200.
Well, let's do 200.
Where are you proposing, Supervisor Giomi? We have not authorized a funding source to
Well,
go
we-
to 200.
we-
I mean, for her to be able to post this, we need the
Well,
approved
can
money.
we do, first off, can we do it with this agenda item or not even? I mean, there are unencumbered funds in redevelopment. I mean, there's, do you know what the number is, Sherry, what we have in unallocated in redevelopment? I mean, it's 600,000 or 700,000, isn't it?
Yeah, that's coming in to use some of the money. So what about if we think in this light? You said that you were prepared to go April 17th. Our next meeting is the 16th? Oh, not till the 20th? 6 plus 14, not till the 20th.
But we have time on this timeline. We can push this a little bit.
Well, I was just trying to bring the agenda item to look for the money first. And I had some other little things anyway, so we could update the timeline in it, but I had some other questions, so maybe we could give you some of the other input or discussion, and then you can bring us back a package and we can look whether we have the finances, because I don't have a problem having sufficient money to do what we're wanting to do, but I don't like to approve things without knowing I have the money. It's
Yeah,
just
I-
kind of foreign to my body, so I'd be more comfortable if we continue going through this for any other comments, and then you just bring it back for the next agenda, and we'll be pretty rapidly ready to go.
We're going to target 200?
Yeah, right.
I'd
Yeah,
be happy with
we're staff direction kind of is what we're
Right.
giving you. So I would like to talk, and I didn't see anyone else with any questions. So let's look at page 5 of 11, or packet page 579. The workmanship guarantee is only a 1 year from date of installation. I don't think that's very long for, I just don't. I think we should have a little bit longer warranty period than 1 year. That may be a standard, but I don't care. I don't want to buy something for $200,000 and so I would like you to look at that section when you bring this back.
Yeah, and I would say, so the industry standard was 1 year, and then the last couple years, it's gone to 2. That's
Great.
the
That
max that
makes
I have
much
seen,
more
so if
sense
that's
to
something
me.
you'd be comfortable with,
Yes, so
yep,
I think
Okay.
we'd like to see you increase that.
great.
You are right. In the construction world, standard warranty is 1 year.
Yeah.
And we're talking about artists, not construction people. I know they're required to have an engineer figure out whatever the installation is gonna be, but
I'd like to see a 2-year, just, again, especially since we're now increasing it to 200,000. It should last a little bit. And then I had the language, where did I marked it. Where you said, I'd like it to be mandatory that they have to do the site visit. The language in this is not that the phase 2 person, it's not mandatory. That's the only way they get the honorarium is if they came to the site visit. But I'm just not
Right.
comfortable. I would like that to be mandatory, that if you're gonna pass through to phase 2, you have to come to the site to get the feel and meet with the public that you had on that. So I'd like to see that mandatory.
one of the thoughts I had on that, suppose it is a local Carson City or Reno artist, are we gonna pay them $3,000 for a site visit? I mean, they live here.
The 3,000 is also an honorarium to develop the proposal itself too. They'll be creating a maquette and all of that, so.
Right.
Okay.
And then I'm willing to live with this, but I wanted to make sure that everyone was understanding that the Board of Supervisors is only going to get the one project. So it will be up to us to either just accept it or deny it. We won't be able to see the other ones. We're only going to get what the Cultural Commission selects. And so I just want on the record it to be very clear, we do have the authority to reject it if we just don't think it hit the mark, right? I think we're all anticipating that it will, and I have high hopes, but that doesn't mean it will, or for each of us, let's put it that way. So does that work? Or anybody else have anything else in here that we wanted her to look at or address before she brings it back? No? How about anybody in the public have anything they think we should add or address in this RFQ? So that everyone knows this is going to come back at our next meeting. Okay, and please move it to the front of the agenda prior to the budget discussion. I'll try not to make you last all day anyway. Thank you for that. Okay, you have enough to know where you're going? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're now on to agenda item 18A, discussion and possible action regarding coordination of a legislative activity and pending state legislation before the legislature, whether to adopt any official policy positions or direct staff to advocate for or against any legislation. Mr. Wood, what do you have for us this morning?
All kinds of good news, Madam Mayor.
Good news, we need it. Go ahead.
So with that, I will start with the good news. Just a quick update on some bills that you have already taken a position on. Yesterday, SB 16, which is a Carson City charter bill, was work sessioned and voted out of Senate Government Affairs unanimously. So that will be going to the floor at some date in the near future, but we made the deadline on that one, as well as SB 11, which was the League of Cities drone bill that we worked on and got the amendment, the amendment that was discussed with you, Supervisor Giomi. That amendment did get on the bill, and was sent amend and do pass unanimously out of Senate Growth and Infrastructure. I also want to let you know that AB 60, which is a bill that you all have supported as well, it's the League's bill regarding the update of annual assessments for neighborhood improvement districts. That bill will be work sessioned. I have confirmation from the chair. It will move out of Assembly Government Affairs before the deadline. Regarding AB 240, which is the home grow cannabis bill that Assemblyman O'Neill is carrying. The chair of the committee is not letting the bill move past the hearing that it had without an amendment that she can be comfortable with. So I'm working with Mr. Reese, and we've got some language that we're going to be presenting to her soon, and we'll see if she's comfortable with it. I don't want to give you guys any hopes
False
about
hope?
an
No
amendment
false hope.
until we know where she is and what she's comfortable with.
What is she comfortable with? Do you know?
Well, she's not comfortable with law enforcement enforcing the provisions of that legislation. So we're trying to find a way around that, and
Yeah,
I'll keep
maybe
you all
code
updated.
enforcement.
Well, that's actually the amendment that we're working on right now, but we'll see if she's comfortable with it. Okay, all right. Well, we'll talk with the
Thanks.
sheriff as well, and we're just trying to feel her out and see what she'll be comfortable with at this point.
Thank you.
So we'll keep you updated on
I
that.
knew it was a long shot, but
I took the bullets. I was happy to do it during the hearing.
We haven't given up on it yet.
I know.
Yes.
Nope, that's right.
So next I wanted to go over 4 bills with you to see, to get the pleasure of the committee about, or the board about whether you would like to take a position on these. I'm going to start with AB 258. The reason I'm starting with this is because I'm currently sitting here watching the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs, and they're going to work session this bill today. We have serious concerns with the way this bill is written, not necessarily with the intent.
258.
Yes, it's AB 258. So this bill relates to confidentiality of information of the donors, volunteers, and members of all 501c organizations. So this would require that confidentiality from all government entities across the state. Now, the bill does have some exemptions in it that the sponsor has added in an amendment with, regarding grants and things of that nature. However, the way the bill is written, it is Section 2, subsection 4 starts there. It allows, quite literally, anyone to sue if they believe that the government entity or an officer or an employee has violated the provisions of the bill. So to put it into layman's terms, if person A, who works for the government, released information accidentally about person B, who is a member of a nonprofit organization, person C, who has no relation to either one of those things, can file a civil action against the government entity or the officer or the employee directly. The bill also puts in not a cap, but a floor on monetary damages for that civil action at $2,500, as well as the requirement to pay attorney's fees and injunctive relief. The bill, additionally, if you go to the next subsection, says that there is a criminal penalty for it as well, if it's done willfully. The bill does not define willfully, but it says if the information is released willfully, there, in addition to the civil action, there are criminal penalties with a floor, again, not a cap, a floor of $7,500 and or up to 90 days in jail. So we have serious concerns about the way that is drafted. Obviously, we don't want an administrative assistant who accidentally forwarded an email that had somebody's name on it to be drug into court
To
by
another government.
anyone.
entity.
And I will let you know that we did try to work with the sponsor of the bill. Myself and some other cities put together an amendment that was sent to her that reflects some of these concerns and addressed them. We were told yesterday afternoon when the bill was scheduled for a work session this morning that they were rejecting that amendment. So my recommendation would be that this board oppose this bill, but direct staff to continue working on an amendment as it moves to the second house, and try in the Senate to get an amendment that addresses local government concerns into the legislation.
You know, I got to thinking on this one. I think the literal reading of it would even prevent us from, with the sheriff's office, we often do a volunteer appreciation dinner where we couldn't even do that because we would be disclosing volunteers' names.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really absurd when you
There are
read
also
the
serious
detail.
concerns, like about posting pictures of, for instance, we'll use the sheriff's office Holiday with a Hero. If there are volunteers
Yep.
and we post a picture on social media or name someone on social media that
Thank you.
volunteered,
Right.
yeah, there are concerns
Well,
about that
beyond
as
that,
well.
anyone who's on the board of a nonprofit, a federal 501c3 nonprofit,
It's public.
It's public. I mean, it's under the
That's right.
the IRS 1099s that you file.
Yep.
Anyone can find that information.
Yes, it's all public.
And like I
This has nothing
mentioned,
to do with the state, you know.
this bill is all 501Cs. So this is everything from Humane Society to labor organizations.
Chambers of Commerce.
Everything in between, so.
Your VFWs, all of those are 19s. I mean, it's just, yeah, all of it. So do we want to make a motion on this one to strong opposition? Yeah, we can even add that in it. Does someone want to make a motion to Supervisor Schutte?
I move that
Oppose.
we oppose this, strongly oppose.
And let the
AB
record
258.
reflect, that's AB 258. Is there a second? I have a motion and a second for opposition to Assembly Bill 258. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Next one.
So next, and I appreciate that, on 258, I just want to let you know I will continue to work on that amendment and we'll keep you all updated on that. Next, I would like to go to SB 205, which relates to off-highway vehicles. This bill revises provisions governing the registration of certain off-highway vehicles. I know Supervisor White has some information on this, and I did distribute to the committee an amendment, or I'm sorry, I'm still in legislative mode. You're not a committee, you're a board. I did distribute to the board an amendment that was proposed by Senator Hansen. So I know Supervisor White had some things to say about this.
Before I do that, it just occurred to me, Todd, as I am the chairman of the Nevada Commission on OHV, do I need to make a disclosure here?
You just
I think I
did.
just did.
He did. There's no personal stuff on this, right?
I think a disclosure would certainly be appropriate.
Well, I mean, I would have to disclose every board I'm on.
I thought that was when we decided we don't, unless there's
'Cause we're all on multiple boards.
pecuniary, he has no personal interest.
I mean, I got on there by first
Appointment.
going to NACO, and then I am the NACO representative to the Commission on OHV. So it all started by being supervisor.
If I'm understanding correctly, it's a public appointment,
Yes,
Okay.
governor appointment.
governor appointed. Based on my understanding of the ethics provisions, the ethics provisions speak to commitments in a private capacity, not commitments in a public capacity. And the reason for that is presumably when you're
Okay.
appointed to other public bodies, that's done publicly. And so it's out in everybody's view, and everybody has knowledge of that. So with that, I think you're good to continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stephen, for opening this up. Stephen gave you the conceptual amendments the commission, the Commission on OHV, the program administrator, and the Department of Outdoor Recreation are all in support of this conceptual amendment. Senator Hansen has fully endorsed what we have presented to him with these amendments. What it does is it gives the commission and the program the ability to still mandate what those costs are going to be. It gives folks with the OHVs that are required to register the option of doing 1 or 3 years, and it gives us the ability to start trying to capture out-of-state visitors into the OHV registration program. Overall, this makes the program much better than what we currently have. So as the chairman of the Nevada Commission on OHV, I would ask for Carson City Supervisors' support for this bill with the inclusion of the conceptual amendment.
Supervisor White, do you know of any opposition to this bill?
I have heard no opposition to this bill.
Okay.
Well, as the bill was written, there was substantial opposition.
Right.
With the conceptual amendment, there is, as far as I know, universal acceptance and support for this bill.
Yeah, and it models off of other DMV options on
Yes.
trailers and
Yes.
things to be able to select. I just got mine in the mail yesterday. I looked at the 3-year amount and said, oh, 1 year looks good.
Yeah.
But this is reasonable that people really might like to select the
Yes.
3-year registration. Do you
And-
have any concern on the 3-year that people will not renew because it'll get lost in but they'll send them a notice. There is noticing, right?
Yes, so it, like you said, it works essentially the same as doing a trailer. That is one of the projects that we are charged with as a commission, is not only promoting the trails and the recreation aspect, but education in the requirement and the need for the registering of the OHVs. So it's an ongoing project that we undertake, getting people informed as to what goes on with the registration.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, thoughts? Supervisor Giomi, you're ready for a motion.
Just turn the mic on instead of off. I move to support Senate Bill 205 with the conceptual amendment presented to us and discussed on the record.
I have a motion and a second for support of SB 205 with the conceptual amendment.
Right.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so the next bill, sticking to the topic of off-highway vehicles, I want to bring up SB 338. This bill moves authority from local governments and certain state agencies to designate roads for use by off-highway vehicles to the Off-Highway Vehicle Commission. I know we have had some concerns over that, and I know there are some opinions here. I will let you know, we expected an amendment to come on this bill that would have changed this, actually stricken it from the language. That amendment did not come. I just checked again while we were discussing the last bill, and it has not been posted. There is no amendment. So because of the concerns, I know that I've discussed this with many of you individually, staff would recommend that we oppose this as written with the hopes that that amendment will come. This is being sponsored by Senator Flores, who is the chair of Senate Government Affairs and was heard yesterday in Senate Growth and Infrastructure. So there is still time to work on that amendment before the bill is work sessioned.
What is the amendment that we're proposing or
We would
encouraging?
propose, yes, right. We would propose that authority to designate roads, local roads that OHVs can be used on would remain under local
County.
control. Correct.
And so yesterday, during the hearing, Senator Flores did agree to that amendment that stripped the entire bill with the exception of changing the definition of all-terrain vehicle to utility vehicle. The commission and the program and other entities testified variously neutral and in opposition to it. There were a number of Southern Nevada communities testified in support of the bill. However, Senator Flores does recognize the fallacy of the general proposal and has agreed to strip that out. The commission and the program, while testifying in neutral, do have concerns that the proposed definition would allow vehicles that are simply unworthy of use on Nevada roads could be identified and registered to operate on Nevada roads. So we are working with Senator Flores to adjust that definition so that we don't get into that problem. I think it would be appropriate for Carson City to oppose this bill with the option of continuing to work with Senator Flores to create a definition that suits his purposes, the people that he wants to represent. Essentially, the way the definition is, it calls for large OHVs seating at least 2 abreast with a minimum of 4 occupants. And he wants to reduce that to a minimum of 2 occupants. But there are a number of those vehicles that just simply aren't suitable for use on Nevada roads. So we will continue as the commission and the program to work with Senator Flores and again, Carson City to basically oppose this, but work with Senator Flores as well.
And
May
I will bring it
understand
back
the-
if
May
there's
I
an amendment.
understand the underlying issue that Senator Flores is trying to resolve? Is the issue that in Southern Nevada, certain types of vehicles are being restricted from the use of a road, and so he's trying to define it to make sure it's a universal? I mean, I'm trying to get the underlying, why? Why?
Initially, the way this started out, Senator Flores simply was not up to speed on what the law already is. And he was trying basically to force the different government entities in Southern Nevada to designate roads rather than allowing them to make their own local judgment. He wasn't aware of how the operation works.
Yeah.
He didn't understand what the law really was. Based on his testimony yesterday, he had no idea that it even really actually existed. And my feeling is, rather than just scrap the whole thing, he's trying to save face, hang his hat on the definition at this point. Because he did agree, the only thing left in the bill is the definition. Everything else is gone. Per his agreement yesterday, it's unfortunate that it's not posted at this point, but that it was his agreement and understanding yesterday during the hearing.
But so is he stripping out the part about local control, or is he willing to put that in?
So,
because the state law doesn't allow local control right now, or local designation.
well, actually it does. Except for certain communities above 25,000. So Las Vegas, North Las Vegas,
Us,
Carson City.
Elko.
Yeah, so,
Most everybody.
but everybody else can. So,
Yeah, because this was discussed at NACO before last session as well, because
Right.
because there are counties that can't do it, and we're growing in number
Right.
with the counties that are above 25,000 now,
Expanding it,
Working the amendment.
expanding it to allowing other communities such as Carson City, it'd be nice to be able for people that live off of Deer Run Road or whatever to be able to pop up over and hit Sedge Road, but it has to be local control.
Right,
The way
I
the bill
agree.
was written, it was,
OHV commission.
the commission would recommend to NDOT.
Yeah,
Well, that's
No,
not the
no,
way.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, the local control is the part of it that.
We want to gain.
That we want to gain.
And now that the chapter's open, we
Right.
have the ability to try for that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe a population cap of the 100,000 mark, like you
Or-
said,
or
because
let
of
them-
growth.
Who cares? Who
right?
cares?
Population
Yeah, at
cap,
all.
because the folks that live on the fringe,
Yeah.
you know, like Senator Flores said, he lives 8 miles from a
Okay.
trailhead. Why does he have to put his
And-
rig on a trailer and?
And to your point, Supervisor White, that might actually be a win for him for what he was trying to do. Although
Right.
the original text of the bill raises serious concerns, there are other ways to do it. So,
Right.
and that would be the recommendation, right? That we oppose it as written,
Right.
but work on that amendment.
I would support it if we worked on an amendment that allowed for local designation in all counties, irrespective
Universal.
of you're correct.
Well, not just counties,
Oh, local government, just in general, local government.
entities.
Yeah.
Make those decisions.
Yeah, could
They're
be
the
a GID,
experts.
could be a GID, whatever the
Right.
case may be, yeah.
Okay, so our motion
moved.
would be to, as written, that we oppose as written.
But continue to work with Senator Flores
Mhm.
on the definition and local control.
Just on amendment. Yeah,
Okay.
on amendments. So on SB 338, the motion would be to oppose as written and allow staff to work with Senator Flores on potential amendments. And then he can bring it back when you have some amendments to show us. Okay, I'll make that as the motion.
Do a second then.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. And your fourth
All right,
one.
one more bill, AB 429. This bill combines two initial proposals. The sponsor of this bill is Assemblyman Bertger from Elko, as well as a number of other legislators that have signed on. The bill incorporates the language that was originally in AB 58, which is the league's bill regarding funding for airport connectivity. So the bill now with both appropriations in it would be 12 million total. So 10 million will be appropriated to the Nevada Air Service Development Fund, or 10 million, I'm sorry, to the Nevada Air Service Development Fund, and 2 million to the Fund for Aviation. So the Nevada Air Service Development Fund, and Mayor Bagwell, correct me if I'm wrong, this fund is meant to help facilitate connections to airports, to help facilitate their ability to receive those connections. And the Fund for Aviation is more of an infrastructure, airport infrastructure fund. So this bill now, with the two types of appropriations in it, seeks to make smaller regional airports like the Carson City Airport, the Elko Airport, the airport in North Las Vegas, able to connect with one another and have the facilities to receive those connections. So we would recommend, obviously, support of this. It is state funding that is, we're hoping, will come from the surplus that the state currently has right now, and that we can show with this funding that it works and that someday it can be self-sustaining.
I'm super excited about the opportunity on this bill to help all the rural airports because often they can get some grants, but they still need, even though it's small, right? 5%, you still have to have the match. So to be able to use this fund to bring in some very viable projects, I just think what a great economic use of some of that ARPA dollars that the state has. So I'm in support of trying to help all the rural airports. Does somebody want to do a motion
I'll do
of
it.
support for that one?
Move to support AB 429.
I have a motion and a second to support AB 429. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. Was there any other legislation? I don't see any other public here, but just in case I'll ask, is there any other legislation or anything any public wants to bring up?
I will say just one last thing. The deadline for First House Committee passage is April 14th. So for bills that are not exempt, that is the deadline. They have to be voted out of committee like our charter bill was yesterday. So we will be continuing to monitor things. And of course, we don't have another board meeting between now and then. So staff will try to keep you as updated as possible as we move forward. But things are going to move fast between now and the 14th. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Supervisor Schutte.
And I'm sorry, I don't have the number in front of me. The wildlife crossing, what's happening with that? It's just such a great opportunity, not only for wildlife safety, but vehicle safety, recreation, all the above.
I don't have the number in the top of my head either, but I do know that it is on our list that is on the website. So I can look up the number really quick. But I do know that there have been some discussions about the funding source. Originally, it was supposed to be a bond, I believe, and now they're changing the funding source. So we'll continue to monitor that as it moves through the process. But they're working on a solution for the funding source of that.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. Okay, thanks again.
That's AB 112.
AB. Your fingers didn't fly fast enough there? Oh. Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, we're now on agenda item 19. Ms. Paulson, do you have anything?
Just have next meeting, all things budget. So it's that time again. And also it's construction time. It looks like we are going to have about 8 contracts coming to the board, but hopefully they will be able to go on consent.
Thank you. Okay, I handed out the Mark Twain Days schedule on the newspaper. I just thought you all would enjoy to see all the different events that will be happening April 21st through the 23rd. So hope you will enjoy. This was definitely, again, I want to thank all the community participants that were on this panel to put this together. There was probably 15 of us working on different pieces of the pie, but great job by all to really put this inaugural event together. And so enjoy your newspaper. Huh? Oh, for the, if you want to come, one of the events that we have that fits within the Mark Twain stuff at the museum on the Washington Street side at 2:30, if you want to come for the, of the museum. Robinson Street. Why did I say Washington's the other side? The other mural. The other mural. But this mural, come and do it at 2:30. We will have a Mark Twain mural to celebrate. So it's really fun. But anyway, good job by all on that one. Is anybody else? Supervisor Schutte.
Yeah, that mural is amazing.
Peeked at it?
Oh, I sure did, and that's so exciting. And speaking of that very busy week of April, so we have the Mark Twain Days. I know that April 22nd, there's a Rotary fundraiser, and then there's also on April 22nd, the Cassie Bark Wine and Dine. And for people who don't know what Cassie is doing, and that's Carson Animal Services Initiative, initially we helped get the shelter built. But since then, we spearhead the Cassie Critter Fixer, the low-cost spay-neuter voucher program. To date, we have helped over 800 animals who live with low-income families have access to spay and neuter, which directly impacts the number of homeless pets in shelters. It directly impacts the number of community cats, feral cats, and so it is a wonderful program. And so Bark, Wine, and Dine, April 22nd.
Anybody else? Any other announcements?
Well, I pretty much let you know already what I've been up to, but other than that, the Nevada State Prison Preservation Society released its first 2 months of summer day tour tickets. They sold out in less than 48 hours, so we have posted the next 2 months. So July and August are posted. I suggest if you want a ticket, you better get one pretty fast.
That's wonderful news. Okay. We will have a closed-door meeting upon the conclusion of this one, just as an announcement. We're on item 20, our final public comment. Gone. Okay, then if there's no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you for a great job. And then we'll just give it a couple minutes and we'll